Very welcome. And for those that don't know you yet here in Equatorial Guinea, uh, how would you introduce yourself?
Ah, I would introduce myself as De-Ánn Lott, a native of the U.S. from California, Northern California, San Francisco Bay Area. I am at home a musician. I am a licensed clinical social worker. I am a world traveler, and I like to create and do music. Yeah.
Okay. As you want to travel as well, and I think your music have bring you to a lot of places, different places. And I've read you've been in Japan, South Africa, Zimbabwe, and do you use your music to mix or to fusion with another cultures?
Most definitely. Everywhere I go, I'm most interested in culture and also the musical styles, like especially being someone who comes from the United States and being part of kind of like this gumbo, this mix of musical styles and fusion. When I was abroad, I had a chance to be an exchange student, toured in Japan, did the exchange student here in Africa, and had a song that I did a spiritual that I liked, and I wondered what it would be like to hear that song in Hosa, and got together with some local musicians from South Africa and the States, and we created a song that's on a CD project. So always interested in the fusion of sound and culture, definitely.
Perfect. Your last album, Return to the Center, why did you choose that name?
Ah, the concept came from one of the songs that I co-wrote on the album, and it came out of a discussion with a friend. When we were talking about, once we kind of go through trials and tribulations, it's like we kind of have this spiritual amnesia. We forget sometimes what we know, that we can find our way back to our center, get our equilibrium. And so that song was born out of that concept. And then it turned out that we just named the project after that song. So just kind of an organic process for that.
Okay. As a gospel jazz, but as a gospel singer, the side gospel singer, God is an important issue in your lyrics, right?
Yes.
And I've read you think or you said that hope, you can bring hope to people listening your music or listening music, gospel music. How do you work in that when you create?
I think it is. First of all, I think that music is something that we do not give ourselves, the gift of music, right? No singer gives themselves that gift. We become stewards of it, we work on it, but it's not something that we wake up and say, oh, one day this is what I give myself. So I think in that way, music is this gift that allows us to communicate, even when we don't speak the same language. It's something that we feel at a deep level. And so I think in that way, my experience has been, whether I traveled to Japan and didn't speak Japanese but sang a gospel song and saw people experience them crying or weeping from what they felt or what message was conveyed to them. I definitely see that music is a way of being sort of an ambassador of travel and of connecting people together. And in that way, it is the hope that people that we encourage people through our music that they can make it another day.
Who are your music, your singers' influences with this?
Wow, way too many to name. I mean, we're talking jazz, we're talking gospel, we're talking R&B. I came up in an era where all those things were like a melting pot, Soul Train and all these things. But if I had to name the most immediate, I guess, kind of influences, definitely like the ladies of jazz, like the Sarah Vaughns and the Nancy Wilsons and the Carmen McRae's, Natalie Cole. But I would also talk about the people that I've worked with as well. And one of them is, my influences is my brother, my friend, and he's passed just last year, Daryl Coley. And people from the Bay Area, which is kind of rich with this gospel sound. The Hawkins, of course, Edwin Walter, Tremaine Hawkins. other influences like your Donny Hathaways, your Al Greens, all these different kind of people that come out of like sort of this gospel experience or this soulful experience have all been influences.
Okay. And how will you encourage our musicians? How would you influence that our musicians?
Sure. You know, one of the things that when I've been talking with different musicians here, local musicians and the musicians that I've been working with, and talking about music education, right? Immersing ourselves in learning music, you know, really learning our craft. And that's ongoing, that's forever. That's a lifelong learning kind of experience. But just learning, teaching people to collaborate and to listen. To listen a lot. Listen.
Okay. And how's been your experience here?
Oh, it's been lovely. It's been lovely. It's I love to travel, and I always say that whenever one travels somewhere, it's going to be an experience. We don't know what kind of experience, but it's going to be your experience, unique to you. And it's been a wonderful experience to get to know the culture and the people, and particularly to work with the musicians, right? That has been awesome, just awesome.
Okay, so will you do something with our musicians? Are you planning to make something?
Oh, interesting that you should ask that. So we are doing an actual concert at Afro Jazz on Friday, the January 12th. And there will be, I'm working with Paula Lane, Max Donalds, Alex plays at the Aviator, Nelida and her husband Elvis, another American musician, Rudy Lewis. So all of us will be at Afro Jazz on Friday, January 12th.
Okay, good. So what's the most beautiful moment you've lived on a stage or when you sang in the choir?
Ooh, one of the most beautiful moments that I've lived musically? I would probably have to say, wow, that's a good question. I would probably have to say touring with my friend Daryl Coley abroad in Japan, like being on the road for a month. Touring and the collaboration of all the musicians and vocalists. That was definitely a highlight and a beautiful experience, recording with him, and then recording my own project, really building on that, and now doing the songwriting and building. You know, it's hard to just identify a moment because they're all moments, right? And they're all creative, and I think that probably the most beautiful moment was probably be that yet to come.
Okay. And talking about your project, Return to the Center,
yes.
You've write most of the lyrics.
Yes.
And what's your favorite one that you wrote?
I wrote most of the songs I co-wrote. I wrote the lyrics, and I worked with one of the family members of the Hawkins family. Jamie Hawkins was the musical producer. So I wrote all the lyrics, and I probably have to say they're all like your children, right? It's hard to say, you know, what's your favorite, but as my writing evolves, I would probably say that there's a song on the project called Faith, and I'd probably say that song is most representative of a different level in my writing that I hope to explore more and to do more of. But definitely I would probably have to say Faith is the one that I think that resonates for a lot of people and kind of shows a different direction for me in terms of songwriting.
Okay, I'll hear it, I'll listen to it.
Okay.
And if you want to add something, we're finished, we're done, you want to say something?
I just want to say thank you. Thank you for being so gracious and so kind, and for the crew. You guys have been so wonderful and so welcoming, and you've definitely made this experience for me a reason to return. So I look forward to coming back to this great place. So thank you. All right. Thank you.